Hi, I'm Hannah Colman. I'm a co-founder and general manager of Scarf Community Organisation, which is a Melbourne-based social enterprise. We borrow restaurants to provide hospitality training, mentoring and employment to young people who are facing barriers to work. So Scarf came about when myself and my good friend Jess Moran were working in a restaurant together. We were also doing some volunteering, mainly in the young refugee community, and we found that we were getting asked by a lot of young people, can you help get us a job, knowing that we worked in hospitality. And it was quite frustrating because we knew that the industry was quite understaffed and there certainly were lots of opportunities there, but we found that our managers weren't really prepared to hire someone who really didn't have a lot of experience or anyone to kind of vouch for them. So we basically came up with this idea, knowing that there were a lot of other hospitality training restaurants and things like that. We wanted to run a program that was really industry focused and that had a strong focus on mentoring as well. So the mentoring comes from hospitality professionals who volunteer their time and guide our young trainees sort of through a service period. So it's very hands-on kind of learning. And yeah, the idea is that young people do our program and then are able to transition into work in the industry, long-term, meaningful work. Oh look, it's been a bit of a bumpy road, I suppose. Like any kind of new business, like getting an idea off the ground, you need a certain level of support. But we've been very lucky, I suppose, because Jess and I both have hospitality backgrounds, so we already had a lot of great networks ourselves which we were able to call upon. So when it came to starting to get some sponsored product and things like that to keep our costs down early on, and also we borrow other people's spaces to run the dinners and the training sessions, so we did sort of call in a few favours from old workplaces and things like that. And yeah, we've certainly had a lot of challenges, but we've also had a lot of support which allowed us to get it happening, and then it's just built the longer it's gone on. And we've had great outcomes, and to be able to tell people about them, the level of support just keeps growing, I suppose. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just every young person we work with, comes in with their own set of challenges, I suppose, and watching them go through the process of coming in often quite shy and a bit unsure about what the training process will be like. But the level of support that they get from their mentors really helps to improve their confidence. And usually by the end of the 10 weeks, someone who's come in who has been, really a bit quiet and shy is getting out there and taking orders and, really kind of owning the job that they're doing, which is really inspiring. And yeah, we've seen a lot of people go on and get really fantastic jobs and then move into other areas of the industry and do further hospitality training and study as well. So all of those things are really positive outcomes. Well, I think we work with asylum seekers and people from a refugee background, and often the barriers that they're facing are many, but I suppose the key one is around the networking. Just being newly arrived, not having grown up in Australia, a lot of the people we work with, they just don't sort of know where to start and just can't really get a foot in the door, and that's what we can help provide. And I think it's really important to have sort of alternative opportunities like what we provide, because otherwise there's a gap. So these young people are often very motivated to find work, and they're putting the time into getting their resumes out there and wanting to learn and all the rest of it. But if someone won't give them a chance, then it's really challenging for them. So we are sort of, I guess, bridging that gap, and in order for them to be able to find a place in society and contribute and work and be part of the community, which is what they all want to do, there needs to be a pathway, I suppose. Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, it's really nice. We keep in touch with most of our past trainees. We've been running Scarf for 3.5 years now, but we work with quite small groups, so usually between 5 and 7 people at any one time for a program. So yeah, it's a little community in itself, all of our past trainees and mentors as well. And certainly when you catch up with a trainee who you've had in the program a couple of years back and see that they're doing really well and working and happy. And I think one of the best outcomes is that a lot of our past trainees have actually referred their friends to the program as well, because they've really enjoyed it and they've managed to find work at the end of it. So for us, that's a pretty big, that's a great thing. I mean, it's interesting because, definitely when it comes to kitchens, hospitality is very male-dominated. I suppose, I'm not sure front of house how it breaks down, but we are a front of house program. I don't feel as though I've been at a disadvantage by being a female running the program, if that makes sense. I think because, obviously the social sector, the community sector is female dominated, so, and that's where a lot of our support comes from as well in terms of the referral organisations we work with and things like that. But I think for all of the restaurants that we work with and the hospitality businesses who, sponsor product that we use and things like that, what we've found is that they're just really receptive to something that not only strengthens the industry by getting people, skilled up and into the industry, which is what the industry needs, but is also, connecting with the local community and people who need the opportunities as well. So that's a really positive thing, and I think that's why we do get, such great support. So our mentors are hospitality professionals who volunteer their time, and they help to support the trainees in that learning experience and also providing the networks into the industry when our trainees are looking for work. And we've had mentors come from some really great Melbourne restaurants. Cumulus Inc. is one of them, Gigi Baba, Union Dining, Gertrude Street Enoteca. So some really great places and people with a lot of experience which they want to share, which is really key, I think, to the trainees, building those networks and getting the most up-to-date industry relevant kind of knowledge and skills as well. We also work in some fantastic restaurants around Melbourne. One of them is that we've been in recently is Markov in Carlton. We've also run dinners at Union Dining in Richmond and Top Paddock in Richmond as well, Roomy in Brunswick. So we get a lot of support from the industry in that way. And also with some of the products which we serve during the dinners, which is really key. Being a social enterprise, we sort of have to be a bit innovative as to how we make our money and keep the program running. So we have sponsorship from Red and White and Mezzanine Wine Distribution, Little Creatures Brewery supply our beer for us, the West Winds Gin, which is a really great local gin company, and Dalesford and Hepburn Mineral Springs as well, with some mineral water, and a bunch of other really great sponsors who provide product and training as well around working with those products, which is really important for the program. I have been asked that before. I think Scarf's going to be based in Melbourne for, the near future, but certainly what we're aiming to do at the moment is capture what we're doing with the model so that it can be transferred into other areas. Because we're a very small organisation and sort of quite low on resources and funding and that sort of thing, we're sort of not quite ready to necessarily take it anywhere else, but we would be more than happy for anyone to kind of take what we do and run with it, because obviously there's a lot of potential there, a lot of young people out there who would probably really, want the opportunity. So we would be really happy to see that happen. I think International Women's Day is a good chance to sort of reflect on, I guess, how far we've come when it comes to women's rights, and also to look at all the amazing things that are happening, specifically for women in the social enterprise sphere. There's a really fantastic social enterprise which started in Melbourne called One Girl, which raises awareness and funds to put girls in Sierra Leone back into schools. And also, one of my favourite social enterprises is The Big Issue, and relatively recently they started running a women's subscription enterprise, which I think, it's really impressive that they've looked at, the model itself is obviously really successful, but you know, a lot of women weren't comfortable selling the magazine on the streets due to, you know, the reasons that they found themselves in, you know, experiencing homelessness. So that's an opportunity for women to still be involved and you know, turn their lives around in that way. But I think on that, it's also important to look at a lot of the issues which, you know, women are facing in Australia and internationally as well, particularly around, you know, domestic violence and the fact that every week in Australia a woman is killed by her partner, and that's just sort of an issue that quite often gets swept under the rug, and probably needs to be talked about more and brought to the forefront, as well as, you know, the gender pay gap being up around 20%. So yeah, I think we've come a long way, but there is still a long way to go. But I think it's important to stay positive about the really good things that are happening, you know, specific to women. Yeah. I suppose to women who are marginalised, I would say, you know, believe in yourself and what you're capable of. And to women who are in a position where they can reach out and maybe provide an opportunity or provide support or mentoring or some kind of assistance to another woman, then, you know, do that, because if we help each other out, you know, we've got a better shot.